If someone asked me today, can you explain coastal restoration? Can you explain the land loss in Louisiana to somebody that doesn't know much about it? Without seeing it, it's almost impossible to put into words. There are places here that I've been hunting for 25 years that just within the last 5 or 10 years don't exist anymore. We took an old GPS from about 5 years ago and went to revisit some of the duck blinds that we hunted. And we were sitting at a waypoint for a duck blind that once was a shallow water pond, an estuary surrounded by marsh grass, was an open bay.
That island right now is 4 foot of water. There's nothing left. When Betsy and Camille came through, it was all floating marsh. It rolled that marsh up like a blanket and took it. It's gone. And you cannot replace that. The river formed that, the river built that, and that's what it's going to take to replenish that.
Louisiana is essential to the rest of the country. And you ask, why is it important to me? You know, I don't care so much about that. Well, without that river and without Louisiana, nothing comes to the rest of the United States. Everything comes right up that highway, the Mississippi River. And if we lose this, we're going to lose the Mississippi.
Coastal land loss here, in the amount of time it's going to take for us to do this interview, an hour and a half, we're going to lose a football field of land every hour and a half, every day. And if you go actually stand in the middle of a football field and look around, you get an idea of how much land that is.
You know, I'm so passionate about it because I've been guiding 39 years. I've seen the best of the best. What people in other places dream about when they put their head on that pillow before opening day, I've seen that. I didn't have to dream it. I live in Louisiana.
The price of doing nothing. If we decide that, you know, this is too much to battle, if we decide that this isn't worth doing, the very docks and marinas from which we launch our boats today will be the reefs we catch fish on tomorrow.
This is where it all happens. But in order for my grandkids and my great-grandkids to see the wonders that I've seen, I'll never live to see it. But I'm not worried about me seeing it. I've seen it.
The Coastal Master Plan, that's the saving grace, so we hope. The Master Plan is one of the most well-designed plans of any plan of its type in history. So much science has backed it up. So many resources have gone into building the plan and putting the plan together. And the thing about the plan that makes it effective and that will make it stand the test of time is that it is a living, breathing plan. It's ever changing, it's ever growing, it's ever adapting.
It is essential for life in South Louisiana to have these freshwater diversions. They're the lifeblood. There is what delivers the sediment to grow.
You have a tool downriver at your disposal, you just got to divert it. And the diversions form land. It's been proven. Benny Loga, who was the wildlife manager at the wildlife fishers camp down there, he had seen the other river broke over the bank and broke out what they call a crevasse, broke through and formed a delta. It was a natural diversion. You just need to do more of them. The more of them they do, the more land building you're going to have. It's the most economical way. We don't have that option in Southwest Louisiana because we don't have the river. The only thing we can do is pump spoil out of the Gulf, which is expensive, and they're utilizing the spoil they're pumping out of Ship Channel. They are utilizing that for marsh restoration. I can't do that here. The only thing I can do is the terracing, and which is helping and it works. It's just another phase of coastal restoration.
The diversions that have been put in place, and you look at how effective they've been, you stand there and wonder, why don't we have more of them? Why aren't there more diversions creating this land? For years I hunted the Wax Lake Delta, and as hunting pressure increased a little bit because it became such a fertile ground for waterfowl, because of that very diversion creating those sandbars and creating that bird's foot delta down there, I stopped hunting there for a while because the pressure had gotten up pretty high. A few years later I went back down there and on my GPS went to some of the places that I had hunted, which were open ponds, beautiful ponds. 10 years ago there were 12-inch willow trees growing out of ridges, and the closest water was 400 or 500 yards away. So it's a testament to the effectiveness of the diversions.
Today we're sitting in one of the few places left in Louisiana that's naturally growing land. And this section here has 19 diversions that just broke through. There's no levee here. So this is one of the few places in the United States or the world that's actually growing land. This bay behind me is Bay Denise. It used to be 5 foot deep. You could shrimp here, big boats. Now, as you can see, it's turning to land because these freshwater diversions are bringing sediment, and as it slows down, it settles down here.
But you see a diversion like that, and you see the land that's being created, and you see the harnessing of the river sediment that seemingly flows effortlessly off the continental shelf because of the leveeing system on the Mississippi River. And you can't help but wonder, why aren't we harnessing this more? Why aren't we using this more? And the master plan brings some light to that and brings some closure to being able to put more diversions in. And that's the push. The idea behind the master plan and behind the Vanishing Paradise initiative is simply to bring awareness that the impacts that are being made here in South Louisiana, they don't just stay here in Louisiana, they affect the entire United States. And the effect is felt through and through.
As future generations have to see what's here, this is a national treasure. People need to get involved and try to save it. You know, if it doesn't matter what you like. Do you like global warming? Do you like greenhouse gases? This has got something for everyone. What's the difference between a mile of Brazilian rainforest or a mile of less vegetation in the Louisiana marsh? It all breaks in the carbon, gives out oxygen, it all does the same thing. If we've lost 2,000 square miles of land thus far, which is an area greater than the Grand Canyon, think about that. Louisiana is a relatively small state, and we've lost an area greater than the Grand Canyon.
It's being able to bring that awareness that is going to get this plan in motion. It's going to provide some relief to the coastal communities that are being so threatened by subsidence, by land loss, by the ever-encroaching Gulf of Mexico that seemingly day by day comes closer and closer.
Being I've guided here for so long and made my living outside and watched it go away and watched the results of it going away is why I'm so passionate about trying to bring it back. Because without this, Louisiana is nothing. Nothing. Open water.
The resources that you're using for your livelihood now will be the last generation if something isn't done. If you want to take the resources from your kids, that's what you're doing by not engaging the restoration effort. It's a temporary fix to your income struggles, but it's a permanent devastation to the resource. There was somebody that did it before you and somebody that did it before him. Nobody's going to do it after you if you don't get on board.
Vanishing Paradise is a program of the National Wildlife Federation. We were formed back in 2009 to advocate for coastal restoration in the Mississippi River Delta through sportsmen across the country. We work to restore the national treasure that is Louisiana's waterfowl and fishing habitat. Since 2009, we visited key decision makers from Baton Rouge to Washington, D.C., helping to achieve landmark legislation to bring funds to Louisiana for restoration. Would invite you to help us restore and protect the Delta Sportsman Paradise. To learn more, please visit www.vanishingparadise.org.